Hello, this is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh. And first of all, I want to thank Leaker Tokos, Snoopcat 101, Jamie Sipple, Orla Trainer, Hybrid Nibum, Val Resch for subscribing to my channel. Click the bell to get notified of new videos. And also, where was it here? Somebody else is following me on Google Plus. Just a moment. Anna Denard, follow me on Google Plus. Thank you, Anna. And this video is about the Sutherland Springs shooting and the shooter. This guy was on medications since he was 9 years old, forced on him, I guess, by his parents. They were psychiatric medications. Bad conduct discharge in the Air Force. Beat his wife and his baby. He gets divorced. He threatens his former mother-in-law. He's a pronounced atheist. Twitter says he was a Bernie Sanders activist. And you may notice a lot of these shooters are leftists, not right-wing. They're not conservatives. They're not law-abiding gun owners. This guy bought 3 guns illegally and didn't show up on any radar. But now Texas says he wouldn't have been legally allowed to carry a gun or buy a gun. And yet he was able to walk into a San Antonio gun store and buy a gun. He bought one in Denver. He drove around without auto insurance and expired tags, and he even beat his own pit bull that he kept tied up in the yard in the hot sun day and night. So this is a guy, he abuses babies, dogs, mothers-in-law, wives, and he did the ultimate abuse by killing 26 people. Now, this guy did not have a criminal record. He did get a bad conduct discharge from the Air Force, but that doesn't preclude him from owning a gun. A dishonorable discharge would have. Spent a year in lockup in the Air Force because of the charges, but it's the second worst thing you can do in the military. You get thrown out of the military. He got fired from his job as an unarmed security guard of the water park. And he had been a member of the church that he attacked. So who knows what caused this guy to finally decide to take out his rage on his former friends and parishioners. And another thing, they're always calling these weapons he was using, this was an AR-15 variant, assault rifles. They're not assault rifles. They're not assault weapons. The military has assault rifles. Now, the federal law that expired called all these type of weapons assault weapons. They're wrong. They're not assault anything. They're semi-automatic weapons. And only with somewhat difficulty can you make them automatic. That's a violation of federal law, but a criminal's not going to worry about that. And this guy was taken down in part by 2 law-abiding citizens. Man across the street, his daughter yelled their shots being fired at the church. He went and got his AR-15 and went and shot the guy. And the guy drove away, and police are saying he killed himself. So an AR stands for Ruger, if I remember correctly, the manufacturer of the original weapon back in the 50s. This was a civilian version of the M16. But it's not an automatic weapon. It's not an assault weapon. It's not an assault rifle. Now, it can carry a 30-round clip or a magazine or whatever you want to call it. But you still have to fire 1 shell at a time, unless you modify it to go full auto. And some people have the knowledge to do that. But I get tired of the anti-gun nuts and the liberals all saying these are assault weapons. as if they are automatic weapons, and they're not. And people like Dianne Feinstein, who said the idiocy after Las Vegas was the Las Vegas shooter had a Gatling gun. If you know anything about the history of machine guns, he did not have a Gatling gun. Dianne Feinstein, when it comes to guns, is a moron. And she should have never been elected senator or mayor. Because, for nothing else, her constant lies about guns and her efforts to try to do further gun control to erode the Second Amendment. This is a very sad case. We're going to see more, I'm sure, as Tom Sullivan said, in blank church somewhere in blank America. And I do wonder one thing. Why do we always hear about these guys after they've done the deed? Some people said this guy was a nice, pleasant guy. Other people said they stayed away from him as far as they could. I suspect it's a little bit of both. But we have a lot of mentally ill people in this country who sadly are able somehow to get guns. And when their rage gets too much, they take it out on their fellow citizens. And we need to do something about that. I don't know what. But this can't go on. And I'm not talking about gun control. I'm talking about shooter control, or would-be shooter control. Because if you take away the guns, this guy would have driven his car into somebody, or a group of people walking on the sidewalk, or maybe into the church itself, or the people coming out of the church after services. And we see this with synagogues and temples. They're heavily guarded on the high holy days because we've been threatened by Al-Qaeda and other Islamic terrorist groups. And we have armed security and the police there. And luckily there have been no attacks on temples or synagogues that I'm aware of. Although community centers have been attacked and defaced, and I think some people may have died at one, but on the high holidays at least, we've been safe. All right, this is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh. I am sorry for the victims of the shooting. Oh, by the way, the liberals and the leftists are decrying, saying it's a hollow thing to say pray for the victims of the shooting. It's never hollow to say pray for their lives and their souls, and for the survivors who have to live with this for the rest of their lives. Not hollow at all, but this is the hate we have out there. And by the way, my video I did that got over 14,000 views, full of hatred, not against the shooter, but people saying, cheering the shooter and disrespecting the victims. And I deleted all those. I won't have that. That's unconscionable and unforgivable. All right. Have a great afternoon and evening. Enjoy your football and try to stay safe out there if you can. This is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh. Bye-bye for now.